At age 42, Pete Buttigieg already has held a number of important titles: mayor, presidential candidate, and for the past 3 years, Secretary of Transportation. And as Jonathan Vigliotti found out, he's recently added a new one: Papa.
Who's ready for pancakes?
When it comes to a pair of toddlers, Pete Buttigieg, the seemingly unflappable Secretary of Transportation, looks
Do you want me to cut your pancakes?
a little jet-lagged.
What did the kids call you?
Oh, I'm Daddy.
I'm Papa.
Who is good cop? Who's bad cop?
I don't know if we have it down to good cop, bad cop.
I think the face of Chasten says something else.
Really?
I think of myself as the bad cop. You think I'm a pushover, don't you?
You are 100% a pushover.
That's not true.
The good cop and his husband, Chasten Buttigieg, raised their 2-year-old twins, Penelope and Gus, in Traverse City, Michigan.
Oh yeah, you got muck, sand and muck.
They recently moved here full-time from Washington to be closer to family.
I found a stick.
You found a stick, yeah.
Their journey to parenthood began 9 years ago.
Our first date.
The first date.
Well, you brought it up on our first date.
I did, yeah.
I was still figuring out dating, period, when we had our first date. It wasn't just my first date with Chasten, it was my first date with a guy.
Really?
So, yeah.
Well, it's not necessarily true.
The two married in 2018, a school teacher and a hyper-driven Harvard grad, Rhodes scholar, Navy vet, and mayor of South Bend, Indiana. A year later, he launched his history-making run for president at the age of 37.
I am a proud son of South Bend, Indiana, and I am running for president of the United States.
I think the presidential campaign aged our marriage 5 years. So by the time it was over, it was ready. I think we both really understood that we were ready to start a family.
They chose adoption, a campaign unto itself.
Like so many adoptive parents, there were some false starts and some heartbreaks, and then
What do you mean by false starts and heartbreaks?
sometimes you get the call, but it turns out it's not the call.
There were a couple times where we'd go to bed thinking that maybe by the next day we might be parents, and then the phone call comes in and a different family was selected or something else happened. I think about 5 times.
5 times?
Yeah.
Then came the call.
I get so worked. Oh man, I get so emotional every time I talk about it. They're so little. They were like 4.5 pounds. And I remember we walked into the room. We were just frozen. And the nurse said, "Dads, you can hold them."
That joy turned to fear when their son Gus caught RSV, a common virus that can be deadly for infants.
Most parents don't think you're going to be the kind of parent who knows their way around a children's hospital, and next thing we know, that's us. The work doesn't ever completely go away. Sometimes we'd have to take my laptop into the bathroom of Gus's ICU room, close the door, and then put a virtual background on Zoom.
This is stuff what I made.
These days, Gus and Penelope are hard to keep up with.
How important is this time for both of you?
Well,
It's the best time.
I think for any parent, you're trying to get from task to task to task, and then you got to stop for a second and realize that these are some of the best and most important parts of your life, not just your day. Hey, dude.
For Buttigieg, work is all-consuming.
We've got laborers, iron workers.
He's the chief project manager and salesman
This is a big deal.
for the trillion-dollar infrastructure law to help rebuild America's aging roads, bridges, and rails.
3, 2, 1, go Buttigieg!
In April, Buttigieg helped break ground in Las Vegas on the nation's first high-speed train, shuttling passengers between Sin City and the LA area. In 4 years, a high-speed train will terminate where we're walking right now.
That's the vision, that's the plan. It's ambitious, but America's built on ambitious, aggressive plans to do big things. This is iconic. I mean, this will be one of the cathedrals of American infrastructure.
But then there are other cathedrals collapsing, which we raised in Washington.
You've faced a number of crises as secretary: the congestion at ports, the airline meltdown over Christmas, the train derailment in Ohio, the blowout of the Boeing plane, more recently, the bridge collapse in Baltimore. Do you see a systemic problem here?
When we got here, we were facing the most intense and multifaceted disruption to our transportation systems since 9/11. That was related to COVID, but that's not the only problem. The problem of underinvestment has built up over about 40 years.
If President Biden is reelected, how much longer do you stay on as secretary?
I don't know, and I don't mean that to be a political answer, though it sounds like it. I don't think that I'll break longevity records in this job. I love this job. But I also know that this is a job you can only do for so long.
Is there a world where you see Penelope and Gus living in the White House in 2029?
I don't know about that. That's just not how I'm thinking about even the near future.
Really?
No, if anything, having kids that little makes you think more than anything about the really long-term future, past when I'm even around.
A political wonder kid steps into fatherhood and embraces the unscripted.
When you went on your first date with Chasten, did you ever imagine you would be here today in this place in your life?
Part of what's amazing about falling in love and getting married is that you're in it for this journey that you just don't know where it's going to take you. But I can't imagine I could have asked for anything better. Not that it hasn't been hard, but if you'd asked me that summer night 9 years ago, told me what was going to happen, and it would have seemed greedy to even hope to have all of that 9 years later.